He said take a village to raise a child, but what if the village is retarded?
What's going on today is a retrospective of Kevin Samuels. Okay, Kevin Samuels was right. Okay, right now we're going through some financial turmoil, international economic warfare, a shift in the paradigm of the country. Right, the far right, basically globalists, are trying to realign American establishment as we know. People that depended on the old system of basically depending on men to do the heavy lifting and not get any results from that heavy lifting is changing. The young people, the young men particularly have seen their fathers get ramrodded. They've seen older men get ramrodded by basically court systems, by basically subprime women. They have changed their narrative. They have um took a step back and focused on themselves, right? um People have gotten an international passport and gotten the hell on up out of here. And pretty much people have changed a little bit. Not everyone, right? There's still a lot of simps. Simps are still out in the wings, still trying to find a bone that they could jump on, right? They out there, they lurking, you know what I'm saying? But they broke, right? They also broke, right? You can't simp for simp. The word simp. Let me help you out. Let me help you out with the word simp. What the word simp, how you gotta spell the word simp. This is how you spell the word simp right here. Let me help you out. And you thought it was just a regular S. Nah. This is how you spell the word simp. That's the word simp right there. In order to have money, in order to be a simp, you gotta have money. And that's pretty much what a lot of women are asking for. They really want a rich simp. They're trying to find a rich simp, right? That's what pretty much Kevin Samuels made a whole bunch of money off of. Women online already got ran through, already got 10 to 20 kids, 5 kids, 5 different baby daddies, 4 different baby daddies. Now they got their kids, they looking for a simp to raise them. They looking for this guy here, right? Um, People have spoken out, more people have spoken out. One of the things that I like about myself, even though I don't really get a lot of support, people bite my shit, bite, what I say, don't give me no credit, hang in the clouds like a fucking a dude in a classroom on test day trying to look over at the smart kid to pass the test. But what they actually are doing is pushing that narrative out there, and is getting out there. I mean, people will look at you sideways. I mean, everybody not dumb. They know where, a person. That's one of the things that Alan Roger Curry did not like about other people. They used to bite his shit a lot, and he spoke out about it a lot. He really hated that shit. That shit was one of his. It used to grind his gears. How people basically just lifted his whole philosophy, his basically plagiarized the shit out of his words and all kinds of stuff. And that's one of the things that people don't understand about YouTube. That's what people do. That's what people do on social media. They copycats. Now the thing about a copycat is they can only copy so much, and then they're at a limit. And even Alan Roger Curry predicted what his detractors and also copycatters wanted from him. They wanted ultimately for him to die, because if he died, they could just basically lift his shit carte blanche and not have to worry about any pushback or berating from him. And I never forget, I was coming from Diageo. I was leaving work, coming from Plainfield, and I was listening to him talking about, pretty much what ultimately, unfortunately, came true, which he uh predicted that a lot of his people, the people that plagiarized him and people that took his content, wanted him to ultimately pass away. Therefore, they go uncontested in their plagiarism. Now, we all know who those people are. Those people are pretty much fading to black. A lot of people do fade to black in the sense of they become unpopular because things change. Even the whole idea of dating in America is changing, right? But I'm not saying all dating coaches are not relevant and some men do not need dating coaches. I think dating coaches are still relevant. Some people do need dating coaches. What you find with, exactly, just the guy from the Kansas City Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, his situation, obviously that man is the prime candidate of someone that probably did need a dating coach. I don't, the fact that he got a private eye, he probably most likely was listening to somebody. I don't know who he's listening to, but somebody probably whispered in his ear and gave him that advice. He used it wisely. Um, it worked out great for his regard. He's safe. He's not gonna be. His career is not on the line. He's going to be okay. The Chiefs are probably going to be a contender next year. I'm going to root for him. I if outside of the Bears, I definitely I would say I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. You know what I'm saying? I made a lot of money off of Kansas City sports betting, but yeah, a lot of men did not listen to any advice and they got absolutely ramrodded. It's people in jail right now because they didn't listen to any advice and they find out the cost of being a simp. Okay. They found out the hard way. So we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna, I pretty much I had to go out and make a little money because I gotta make my money the hard way, unfortunately. Sometimes, life things go kind of how they go. And then sometimes, what I'm saying, you gotta make your money the hard way. Uh, you gotta choose, do you make some money or do you make no money? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta choose what you gotta choose, but I'm working on things. I'm pretty much still the basically journey continues and basically I'll talk about that more on my Kaizen talk. Sometimes you do got to go take a step back to go forward. It happens. It's ebbs and flows in life. But anyway, I still ain't a simp. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, as long as you ain't no simp, you know what I'm saying? You doing better than the next man. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. So we gonna get right into it. We're gonna open up a video. This is by Fawcett Media. This is 2 months ago. Fawcett Media definitely was he was a Kevin Samuels fan. Also he's I think he is under the umbrella of the lead attorney. I see him a lot. I used to see him a lot on the lead attorney. So I didn't talk about Melissa Ford, but he's gonna talk about it. And I guess we could both go down this road and see what we're gonna see from this content. I didn't watch this. Basically, let's get it right into it.
You all think that a high value man, we all know what Kevin Samuels said a high value man is.
You spent the years between 18 and 35 doing whatever the hell you chose to do. No heat, no judgment. But you blew your youth.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? This is the thing, right? This is the cold thing. I'm a cold dude. Okay. I've been cold for decades. I'm from Chicago. Okay. I'm from the suburbs of Chicago as well. I'm a cold dude. I seen some cold shit. I done some cold shit. I hung with cold dudes, right? Always hung around the best and the brightest, man, if I could. All of my friends pretty much are raw dudes, man. They get the best of the best. They get the best of women. They get the best of experiences. When basically my homies, when we go walk in the club, all eyes was on us when we was younger. Those are the type of men that I roll with. I mean, did we have our differences and all of that? Yeah, we went our separate ways, but we were still raw dudes. We had game when we was in high school. I learned from my friends, when I was in high school, how to basically, you know, get women. You know what I'm saying? How to pick women, how to, what I'm saying, get what you want out of women. Um, how to, basically seeing what stupid shit women actually do. The shit that they say to you being the simp, right? And the actual stuff that they actually do is totally different. They say all kinds of shit, but they got game. One of the things that men don't understand is that women actually have game and they're using it against your dumb ass that doesn't understand that there is a fucking game that's being played. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, women in a fucking DR got hella game. Okay. Hella fucking game, hella hustlers. Brazil, I'm sure the same thing, hustling. Everywhere that is fucking even London. Okay, I'm watching a series on Netflix right now. It's called Gangs of London. I'm fucking absolutely blown the fuck away because a lot of people don't understand Europe is very, very fucking extremely hustle oriented. More hustle than even in the United States. Like they on hustle mode, on go mode. Like they, polite gangsters, extremely polite gangsters, pretty much. Like, I mean, you have no fucking idea. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the thing is that I say all this to say that if you don't have the understanding of how to deal with these vicious creatures that absolutely are man eaters, they will absolutely destroy your simp ass. That's all you need to know. But let me continue playing this. I'm gonna go get some popcorn because I'm absolutely enjoying this time and I'm gonna enjoy this live stream as well. Hit the like button, like, share, subscribe, hit the cash app. The cash app is on the bottom left hand side of this screen. Let's go.
That's hot and bothered because she has some interesting perspective being a woman of the 48 years old, former video vixen, top of the game at one point. But a lot of her takes are very controversial because, well, you'll see.
What do you all think that a high value man is? I mean, I know we all know what Kevin Samuels said a high value man is, but what actually is a high value man? Is it a man with, a high earning potential or somebody who's already realized that potential and he is a high earner? Is that what makes him a high value man by way of my experiences? Absolutely not. A high value man to me at my age is somebody who understands that vulnerability equals strength. A high value man to me is somebody who seeks self-awareness. A high value man loves and honors his mother and sees value in women past what they can do for him or how they can satisfy him. That is a high value man to me. And it took me a very long time to understand this. And for any man listening to this, I do not say this to be offensive in any type of way. As a matter of fact, take yourself out of the equation because you're really not a part of it.
Oh,
And that is said with love. The phrase is decentering. Women have been
we've heard that before. How many times have we heard that? All about decentering men. Well, when have you ever centered men is the question. That's what we really need to get to the bottom of.
conditioned to feel like men are the centerpiece of our lives and everything else takes place on the peripheral. Our careers, our friendships, our social circles, our school, everything that we do is peripheral to
That's the liquor talking. That's that wine talking right there.
entering a man, finding a man claiming us, a man being our husband, a man. When in actuality, it's you. It's about you and it's about your choice. If you never end up finding the quote unquote one, guess what? There's so much more that life has to offer you that will make it okay. Love is wonderful. Finding a relationship is
One of the things that I'll tell you that I noticed about some of the things that I was doing that I no longer do is I've said this before. I don't take women over 35 that serious, especially 40 plus. I listen when they talk. It's kind of like if you ever saw the cartoon Charlie Brown, when Charlie Brown's mother is talking, all you hear is wham 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 wham. Like I don't really pay attention to them because pretty much they're not really relevant. Okay, I mean a lot of the women that are 40 plus, they're already retired. They're pretty much grandmas. What they want and all of that type of stuff, they're talking to old men that are in their 60s and 70s. They're not talking to me. When they're talking, I'm not their target audience because they're already most likely already have children. They don't want any more children. They can't even probably have more children. And then basically they have all of these demands like a 21-year-old and they're 40 plus years old. You already had your, moment to enjoy life and, you've already had your fun. MTV, your MTV Rap is no longer in existence. Rap City in the Basement is no longer in existence. Okay. Those days are gone. It's time to basically, get your retirement ready and get your things together and focus on, basically what you're going to do in retirement, not your demands about this and that and the other. I mean, pretty much your demand should be what retirement village you're going to probably move to. Who are you going to settle your estate plans with? Not, I don't like this and I don't like, I get you don't like all of that. I get you don't want to do this and all that, but it doesn't matter from my perspective, okay? what you don't want and what you want, because I don't care what you don't want and what you want. You were good. You couldn't be told what to do 20, 30 years ago. Now it's too late. It's pretty much you've already are expired, milk at that point. You are going to be cottage cheese. You're milk curd. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's hard for a lot of women to stomach or gas, but that is reality. And a lot of times, maybe a lot of younger men don't understand that when you're listening to a woman that's pretty much 35 plus, you're listening to someone that is a grandma, that is going towards being a grandma, having all of these demands like they're in their 20s. And that's at my era, I didn't get that a lot sooner. And it's like, yeah, like you're old used car. You could be used to get to work, you could be used to drive around in, but you're not a new car, ma'am. You're a old used car, and with most likely some accidents and a whole bunch of damage. And unfortunately, you don't understand that, and you're trying to sell yourself like you're a new car to some sucker. I am not that sucker. Go find that sucker, and I hope the best for you, but I am not him.
Wonderful, but not at the expense of yourself. And that's just my little bit of lived wisdom and experience.
So what's funny about this is that, now in hindsight, she can have this perspective, right? After being a successful video model, after being, sought after by many famous men, now she wants to come and impart wisdom to the young women, I believe. Or excuse me, she wants to impart wisdom to men right here, because we've been the center of attention for so long. Well, it doesn't really seem like that, because a lot of times we're being told not to be centered consistently. So how have we ever been the center of your focus? If we were the center of your focus, there might have been a chance for more catering towards what men actually desire. I would posit, Melissa Ford, that most women don't care enough to even know what their man is interested in. They just know what they want him to know. They just assume he likes this. We like this. Men are suffering in silence in some of these relationships and never really bring it up, because they're at a place where they feel like if they bring it up, their head will get snapped off. They'll be sleeping on the couch, many, many other things. But as a 48-year-old woman who has been through the game, is this the time or place for you to have a podcast? Of course, everybody's allowed to have a podcast to monetize and make wealth, but it just seems like the years have finally caught up. She had a relationship with Flo Rida. That probably should have went the distance, but she didn't get married. She said she had 2.5 engagements. There was somebody that used to talk about women were not counting engagements, we're counting completion, we're counting the marriages. Somebody with the initials KS, the great Kevin Samuels, said that. Boy, wouldn't it be great to hear what Kevin Samuels had to say about Melissa Ford's mentality and how she's approaching things as she eases out of the marketplace.
You have blown your youth. You spent the years between 18 and 35 doing whatever the hell you chose to do. No heat, no judgment. But you blew your youth. When your counterparts who were looking to marry up and marry well were getting married their junior and senior year in college, the first and second year after college, they were married at 22 and 23, and you were laughing at those white girls and those Asian girls getting married at 22, 23. You get married after college, that's too young. We need to go on girl trips and having our best like hot girl summer and all this other bullshit. Now they're 10 years into their marriage, 3 kids deep, and their husband's a VP of marketing somewhere. And while you still got you and your cats or living in a loft downtown, driving your BMW in a middling career. You ain't on no career track. You blew your youth. You blew.
You're a victim.
Here we go, CSI.
You know, one of the things about who you choose, men and women, that's who you choosing. Whether you like it or not, that's who you choosing. So you ever okay, so like when you in a grocery store and you got your lady and you see a dude, he with some chick or whatever, fat chick or whatever, ugly looking chick. He looking at your chick and you like, dude, you chose who you chose. You chose who you chose. Like it ain't time. You know what I'm saying? Be happy with what you got. Because so those same dudes, you know them same dudes when you by yourself, they looking at you like they got the leg up because they got something. Because a lot of dudes, they be like, something is better than nothing. And they looking at you like they winning. I'm like, nigga, you still losing. In my eyes, if that's who you like, cool. But you know what I'm saying? That same dude, you know, when you got somebody, they all up in your video because they one of the things about men, especially men that are in a lot of men are monogamous pretenders as well. They in a relationship and they in a monogamous relationship and they pretend as if they're not cheating, or they say that they don't cheat, or they try to pretend that they don't cheat with their girlfriend or fiance or wife, and that's the game that's being played. But you know the thing is that why don't you just say I ain't even gonna commit? Well, you can't get that woman without saying that you can't commit or you don't want monogamy. You can't say that because that woman ain't gonna be with you if you say that.
You're automatically beta. Automatically, you're beta. You're beta as fuck.
And you know, yeah, those men are the same men that wonder why other men go long-term periods without actually being in a relationship, and they look at you like you're losing, and it's like, nah, I'm holding out for something greater. You know, I've been that dude to just take anything coming, that dude to just take any scraps that's thrown my way. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you do that and you have fun with your life. I'm not going to just basically settle for scraps. You know, because it's that's what you do right now. And one of the things that I understood, and this is from I'll just speak for myself, you know, if you are a man of high sexual mastery, you can't just get with no random woman unless you want to just, you know, underperform, because when you get with a woman, she's going to be attached to you almost like a vampire in type of situation. You got you basically somebody, you know, that's going to be stuck with you for a long time, you know, and that's my experience with a lot of women. And I can't just get with no just random chick because they'll be like getting with a woman that you don't want attached to you, and now she's stuck with you because you know you just wanted any woman. You know what I'm saying? That just, you know, it's a gift and a curse with having higher sexual mastery. That's all I'll say. But a lot of women, they do the same thing. They choose men, and then things don't go their way. Women tend to get the men that they do actually want. They want that guy. They're attracted to him. They like the sex. They like the relationship. They're fun. But that man is deficient in many ways. He doesn't earn as much. He's not as smart. He's not as competitive. He doesn't know how to keep a job. He doesn't know how to stay consistent. and they know that guy basically also will put up with their shit. So they'll stay with that guy and also even have that guy's baby. But when it comes down to it, that guy eventually they kick him to the curb. They get in some argument because they disrespectful and they don't respect that man. And then that situation expires with that relationship. And then now they got a kid or kids, and they're the same disrespectful woman, and they're trying to get with another man. Now they're trying to level up because they know, oh, this guy, I seen where I messed up, alpha bucks, beta, alpha fucks, beta bucks. They trying to get the bucks, right, from the beta male that basically knows how to work, knows how to be consistent, might not be hitting on much in the bedroom, might not be lifting up nothing, doing nothing, majorly on the physical level, but can keep a job, can make money, can balance a checkbook, and so on and so forth. So this is why that is. This is why, alpha fucks beta bucks, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not talking about no theory. I'm talking about my life. Okay. I'm I'm talking about my life, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about nothing off no theory. I live this shit. I ain't talking about it. So that's what these women do. That's the games that they play, right? Now, as a man, if that's what you want, if that's what you want to deal with, that's on you to deal with it. Don't come complaining to me once you um are beta bucket, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I've told you and other men told you that you are SIMP with a dollar sign in front. So, what I'm saying, if you want to be a SIMP, keep doing what you're doing, and that's all that is, basically beta bucking. Because just because you own some beta shit don't mean you got a beta buck. You could find a woman that's a beta, or a woman that respects you on whatever type of reality that you got going forward, and you could settle within that type of paradigm. But a lot of men, even alphas be beta bucking. You know what I'm saying? It's because you got a lot of men don't have no game. A lot of men don't have no philosophy and don't have no understanding. So you got even alpha men beta bucking. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of men that don't really understand their value. A lot of women absolutely, you got to understand, women overvalue themselves generally, men undervalue themselves. That's why shout out to Charles Faulkner. He said black men are the garbage men of the dating world, because a lot of black men undervalue themselves in the dating world, because they don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't have no understanding, and they don't respect men. A lot of men don't respect other men and what they have to say, so they suffer the hard way.
Blew your youth. You can't get that back. You don't have time to play any more games. You don't have another 10 years to try to figure this shit out. You'll be 50. You don't have time to keep playing games.
You know, the one thing she has, that's always going to be
There are women that look so good that I call them. They look so good. Nobody can tell me, nothing. Like you know, that lasts as long as it. I've seen women have that type of thing going for them from the time they was a teenager all the way. They push it all the way to their 50s. You can even say Melissa Ford is going to that route. I'm not gonna say Melissa Ford. Everybody know Melissa Ford is legendary. I didn't even know, to be honest with you, I didn't even know Melissa Ford was from Canada until recently. And I'm gonna tell you, like I'm gonna tell you again, it's like I don't know how many times I've told you this shit. I mean, there's beautiful women all over the world, but one of the things a lot of men don't understand in America, how many fine women there are in fucking Canada. I mean, it is some fucking dime pieces in Canada, man. Them goddamn forests and all them goddamn trees and shit in Canada. There's some fine motherfucker. I done seen they ass. You know what I'm saying? And the motherfucker thinking about getting in his car and just keeping on fucking going. I swear to God, I don't think Canada is very similar to the United States, man. I don't think the relationship is not doing too well because of the whole, you know, Trump thing or whatever. But man, a motherfucker thinking about getting in his car and just going north, man. Just what I'm saying, keep on driving, you know what I'm saying, and see what's what. But yeah, like it's some motherfucking dime pieces in Canada, man. On God, it is. But the thing is that again, that mentality of I'm so fine, you can't really check who gonna check me, boo. That only lasts for so long. And then once you reach a certain age, really 40 starts to get goofy because you can't a woman is okay. In case you like basically a woman, her value is her womb. That's what makes her a woman. I didn't make these rules. You know what I'm saying? God made these rules. A man is his might, right? That's the very value of a man is his might. What makes a man is his might. Okay. When it comes to women, when they ain't use that womb, that shit, man. I mean, that's one of the most maximal values a woman has. And when she doesn't use that, and a man wants a child and he doesn't have any, doesn't matter how fucking fine you is. He'll get with your ass and then fuck another broad on the side and then make babies with her. And then, you might scratch up his car, blow up his car. You might do all kind of stuff, but he's still gonna do it, because the urge to mate is strong on both parties, men and women. But the thing is that he would like to have children with you. If you don't want to have kids, you're not very valuable in the dating mating market. So the thing is again, once women get like a certain age, Kevin Samuels talked about that, the danger zone. You start becoming, your value starts to decrease. You start to basically get older, and time starts to wear in, and that you can't check me. I look so good, you can't check me, boo. That starts to expire. And then it's like it's a situation where yeah, men will still hit on you. They will want to be with you, but at the end of the day, it's another you that's turning 18 every single day. And that's how nature works.
Be there for her in some way, shape, or form until further notice, until she is elderly, most likely. And I think she allows that to give her some type of gravitas in these statements, as if it's you're speaking from a level of success. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's been a lot of success. But, it remains to be listening to YouTube and some of these other content creators that have brought that up as a thing. But really, evidence in your life. That's my only like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification newsletter. That way you can stay up to date on all things Fawcett Media. This is Fawcett Media.
Yeah, so that's what's up there. Yeah, Kevin Samuels is still right. He's right more than ever. You know, um, he was right in many regards. Women are crashing out at alarming rates. It's getting disastrous when you think about all of the things that are going on. Okay. He was counting marriages. Okay. This is a pro marriage friendly channel. This is a financial channel. This is about health, wealth, knowledge, you know, um, it's a financial channel. I basically, my goal is to become a millionaire, and I want you to become a millionaire. Okay. This is the thing with millionaires, right? Um, this is the stat right here. So when I say I'm pro being a millionaire, I have to be pro marriage because of this stat right here. And it's not because of that. It's because, I mean, it just makes sense anyway. I mean, the U.S. tax code is pro marriage. Okay, the U.S. tax code. Okay, um, now, is there ways around certain things and all that type of stuff? Yeah, it's all kind of stuff. We could have that conversation, but I definitely say, for sure, this is a pro marriage channel. This is why this stat right here. Um, this is one of the major reasons why there's a class separation, right? In America, there's a widening class separation, and one of that is this here. Okay, I didn't even know about this here, right? I didn't know about this stat. So you got to understand, it makes perfectly sense. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. Well, if you're a one, you're not two, right? You're close to zero. When you have two people on the same accord, you are basically close probably to four, where a man by himself, barely holding on, he just has himself. It's very difficult living life by yourself, not being married, not having a woman, what I'm saying, to help out, to basically provide a lot of things what women provide. Now, if I told you something different, I would be letting you astray. Okay. So the thing is this. This is the stat. This is another stat right here. And this book is available on Amazon.com. This book helped me achieve the goals that I was trying to achieve, and I'm still achieving them one step at a time. But this is why I'm pro marriage. One of the reasons. Okay. It's not just that, but this is why he counted marriages, and that's the only thing he counted. And then I definitely agree. Okay. This is why this is important. Okay. This also another stat right here. Okay. Right here. And then this is also um let's see, this is why he counts marriages. Okay. So this right here, this is even further dystopian. 14% of the prisoners in the United States reported being married. So mostly everybody in prison is not married. Okay. So single. Okay. That's why he counted marriages. This is what's going on with women right now. I used to have to search for this and all that. Like I just, copied this. Women are getting incarcerated at a 700% rate from 1980. They're crashing out because they don't have men to check them. Who gonna check me, boo? Is this rate right here, a 700, almost 1,000% spike in women incarceration rates because the basically the government can check you. Okay, that's who can check you. So that's what's going on. But the thing is that when it comes down to it, that's why that man counted marriages only. That's why he was focused on marriages, because a lot of people they count relationships. I can go out right now, go to the club, and then go meet a chick, and then I could be in a relationship tomorrow. Doesn't require much to be in a quote unquote relationship. You know what I'm saying? To get married is a whole nother thing. And here's another thing, right? Why does women go to college? They brag about going to college, going to university, getting those degrees, but they can't do nothing simple. They can't do something simple as listen to a man that is their husband and get married. You notice that? They have a hard time doing that, but they can go get all of the degrees that they want, you know what I'm saying, and all of that type of stuff. But let's get right into it. We'll play an old video, and we, basically, still after, about 3 years, Kevin Samuels is still right to this day. Every day he's getting more and more right. You know what I'm saying? So let's go right here. This is a good one.
What do you do for them?
I'm an entrepreneur building a business. So
Like a buffer. I don't know. I don't know why. When I'm doing other stuff, man, I ain't got no problems. But second I'm on StreamYard, all of a sudden I got all kinds of problems. So we got that buffer. It's buffered pretty nice, so we gonna let it go.
that's what I'm looking to create. Figure be direct with me of what I'm doing wrong. So I honestly feel like I've just been kind of like in loss trying to figure it all out. And so that's why I wanted to jump on, because I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
Doing what outcome do you want?
I do want to get married, and having children is priority for me as well.
How many children do you want?
2 children, 2 or 3.
Hey, what state do you live in?
I live in California, Los Angeles.
Why do you want to get married?
I've always had the desire. I do realize when I was younger, it was coming from, when I look back, because I've done personal development, it was coming from an abandonment wound. I've taken time to heal that piece. And now I realize that I do want to build something with somebody that I can have a soulmate connection and also be a power couple with. And change the trajectory of my family, because we don't come from marriage. I want to show that as an example for my kids.
How long you watch?
Now let's give her a rating. Let's give her S&V rating. Okay. And I still, I remember a long time ago, like about 5 years ago, Um, I basically, I ain't gonna lie, I capitalized a little bit off the Kevin Samuels wave, and I started an S&V calculator. Right, it's still on my website, and yeah, a lot of women was buying that S&V, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I expressed it. You know, they was buying that shit. They was buying it so much, I raised the price, and then they kind of like backed up off, and then the whole Kevin Samuels thing kind of died down. But yeah, man, I'm pretty good at rating, man. I'll tell you right now, as far as the face, like 4 or 5. Is that her real hair? I don't think so. It looks like a weave. That's definitely that's not a good look. The thing where the heel that women don't want to die on with the weaves is that breeds low class men. Low class men are associated with weaves, right? And a lot of women, they don't want to let that, they don't want to die, they don't want to let that heel die. They want to die on that heel of wearing weaves. And the thing about it is, unfortunately, how men of higher regard look at women that wear weaves and why they look at them as such, as low class, because a lot of the women that date low class men wear weaves, because the low class men, they don't care about what women wear. I'm gonna tell you something. I've been a hood dude before. I've been in the hood before, right? I'm in the hood working on houses right now. You know what I'm saying? Working on projects, right? A dude, the mindset of a dude in the hood, in the ghetto. You know that mindset, what that mindset is? I'm gonna tell you what that mindset is. That mindset is, I'll take whatever the fuck I can get. I don't give a fuck if you wear weave. I don't care what you got. Because if you really in the hood, like a dude that is in the hood that's struggling, ain't got no car, is walking wherever he gotta go to get somewhere, he's walking. He ain't hardly got no money. He living with his mama. I know what that life is about. And that life is, you can get better women, but you're taking whatever the fuck you can get because you can't go nowhere else. And women that wear weaves and have bad attitudes and all that shit, they deal with men like that because they get the sex that they want, they get the man that they can control because financially he's at a lower point, right? Financially. And basically they can manipulate and control that man, and they don't have to be checked. They won't be checked. They won't listen to that man's, what he says doesn't hold much weight because he doesn't really have the financial sovereignty to basically go out in the world and conquest and get whatever he wants. And they know that. And when I see women that wear weaves, that reminds me that this woman deals with those types of men. And men of high regard know that, especially black men. They know these women date, quote unquote, these men that don't really got much going on. They're trying to use a dual mating strategy with me, but I know these women date these men that are basically on a lower spectrum financially, society, in all kinds of different regards. And that's pretty much what a lot of high, quote unquote, value men know. They know a woman that's got a dual mating strategy. And I can even see in the eyes, I can see struggle in them eyes. I know struggle. Okay. I even, you know what I'm saying? I've been in the military. I know a Marine 1,000-yard stare. I got one. And I see struggle. This woman is definitely, she's in the right place as far as she's showing her vulnerability, which is very good. I think women should, one of the things that women should be is vulnerable. Be vulnerable to the reality that they're fucked, and they need to, a man to, basically help them. And I know my language is harsh, but it is what it is. Like I pretty much, um, my philosophy is similar to chess. The game don't exist without a fucking king. You ain't even playing the game if you ain't got a king. So, the thing is that the women that understand that, they don't have the problems that the women that don't understand that have. Okay. But the thing is she is vulnerable. She is saying, you know what, I'm fucked up in the game. I'm trying to get somebody because I'm going insane. Now, the thing is this. She's about a 405. She got the weave. She's got some nice lips though. You know what I'm saying? She got some nice motherfucking lips, boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Definitely nice lips. But um as far as her class, I would say she's probably, she says she's an entrepreneur. So she's about a 89. She looks about a 89 on the BGS more octane scales. She is about a 89. Okay. Professional woman, at least a college degree or relevant experience. 89 octane. Okay. Um, she's a subprime woman, pretty much tolerable, looks like. Trying to be prime, trying to work on herself. She sees she's got flaws. She says she's trying to work on herself. You know what I'm saying? That's what she's on. Um, is she a monogamous pretender or truly monogamous? Let's see. Let's play the video. Let's see what else she's talking about. Maybe we could find out.
Programs or anything like that?
Off and on, not too much.
Well, what do you think what do you think we're about to say right now?
I want you to give it to me difficult, like hard, because
I'm not giving it, I'm just saying this. The myth of the power couple is something that was marketed to Black women. What is a power couple? It means we're partners? No.
Are you asking me, sir, or is that a
That's a
rhetorical?
power couple. That means we're partners. You have 2 or 3 children. Which one?
2.
Do you want your kids to be able to go to college if they want to?
Yes,
Do you want to travel nationally and internationally with your children?
both.
Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant and married with your first child?
Yes, like,
You want to have to work to pay significant bills when you're pregnant.
oh, significant bills? No.
Significant, yeah.
I
you
was
have
like,
to pay significant bills right now. Okay. Percentage of the family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for an entire lifetime?
I would say 30 to 40%.
Okay, 30 to 40% means if you stop working for any reason, you start bringing in income for any reason, the family is at serious.
This woman right here is see, I'm leaning toward monogamous pretender, and I'm gonna tell you why. This woman is genuinely she's putting on an act, almost like a chameleon. If you could tell, a lot of men out here, if you're watching this, you probably can tell she's kind of putting on a chameleon act. This woman is an absolute hellraiser. Um, she's I'm not saying you could work with her. You can't, I would say she's probably tolerable on a subprime level, but she can probably raise a little Cain, a little hell a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of Black women are like that. I mean, it just is what it is. But yeah, she's putting on a chameleon act right now. But this woman has probably been in the fist fights with men. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? You can't, I done been with a lot of different women. So, I can kind of gauge a certain, like, women's behavior to a certain extent. And, she's an 89, but the thing is that, she probably, you know what I'm saying? You probably, looking at a woman that You know what I'm saying? She probably done dealt with some street dudes. Definitely in LA. LA got a strong gang culture. She probably got one of her eyes popped in, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like she done, had some fisticuffs with men, but she's kind of putting on a, kind of a 2B level in performance with Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying? But I peep game, you know what I'm saying?
Risk. Serious risk. Meaning you would not be able to stop working under any circumstances. Is that what you're saying?
That's a good question. No, ideally, no.
Because not working while you're pregnant doesn't line up with 30 to 40%. So what percentage of the overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for? This is not negotiable. It has to be done.
No, I appreciate. I would say 10%, honestly.
Okay, 10%. How much would a man need to make in LA to afford 2 children, a wife, and himself to live an upper class life?
I would definitely say 500,000 or more.
Give me don't give me a more. Just give me a number.
650,000.
All right. Do you care if he's black or not?
No, I'm open.
Okay. You're 36?
Yes.
Have you had a serious relationship with a non-black man?
Yes, I have.
How long did it last?
It lasted a year and a half.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Dress size?
4.
Okay. Your last serious relationship is how long ago?
My last serious relationship was 6 years ago.
Okay. And the last time you've been intimate? The last 12 months?
8 months ago.
All right. So, man, what percentage of men earn $650,000 a month?
When they said Kendra G was basically copying Kevin Samuels, it just hit me just now. Like I ain't literally verbatim, and she took out the dress size and all of that shit because she don't she a woman, so she don't, you know what I'm saying? She trying to basically please other women. But literally she copied his entire script as far as, the actual questions. And I ain't even picked that shit up. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking she just copied the whole dating thing. But I didn't get the whole she, pretty much was copying exactly what he said. That's tripped out. I just had to point that out.
More.
Well, from the conversation I heard you speak about earlier, it sounded like it was less than 10%.
10% of men earn $100,000.
Okay.
3% of men make $300,000, $250,000, or $500,000. 3% of men make 10%, 100,000. Top 5%, around $250,000. 300,000, you start dropping around 3%. You get over 500,000, you're talking about 1%, and you're talking more than that. So you're talking about a fraction of a percent. So if a man can meet that, and how tall? You said y'all tall 5 what?
Say that again.
How tall are you again? You said you're 5 what?
I'm 5'5", 5'8" with heels.
Okay. So how tall does he need to be?
Anywhere 5'8" and taller. I'm flexible.
Okay. If this man can meet your socioeconomic standard, which is
that's even less. Most the average size for a man is 5'7". Once you get up to 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", 6'1", I'm 6'3". Only less than 14% of men are 6'3" or higher, or actually 6'2" and higher. So you got to understand everything I just said. Now, don't get me wrong, I get looks, even because I lost a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? Because I stopped eating all that animal flesh, right? I notice I'm getting looks from the young chicks too. And I'm not talking about like millennials. I'm talking about the Z's. So I know I'm moving in the right direction. But the thing is one thing you got to understand that women game goofy too. They don't even know something. You know, it's kind of like if you let's say you grew up with some slow kids, right? Everybody has slow kids that they grew up with, right? So when I was coming up, we traded baseball cards and basketball cards. So with the slow kid, you can trade the slow kid a Craig Hodges card, or not even let's just not say Craig Hodges. Let's say BJ Armstrong. You can trade the slow kid BJ Armstrong for a Scottie Pippen card. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how that's how game goofy a lot of women are. And they realize it when they get older. They're like, damn, I'm so stupid. I let this nigga just nut all in me, and I got all these kids. I mean, I love my kids, but this nigga wasn't shit. And it's like, damn, they see their friends on Facebook going to Cabo, going to Bali with their man, with their husband, beautiful family, living a dream, and they gotta go to the laundromat every time they gotta wash clothes, struggling, barely able to get child support from their baby daddy. And they realize, pretty much they've been had by their stupidity. And it's like they had men like Kevin Samuels, like myself, like other men, and they basically didn't value them. They valued the fun guy. They valued that guy that, pretty much they ran with, right? And now they 30 something years old, washed up with kids and literally washing up at the laundromat every weekend. When a nigga like me, I just got my van and I got a washer and dryer set, and got my handyman to install a water system, water supply. And it costs like all of that I just mentioned costs like $300. You know what I'm saying? That's included in the washing machine because I know how, because I'm a man. I'm a handyman. So I know, my handyman at that time, he was older, so he knew more stuff than I did. I learned a lot from him. But the thing is, I knew how to do all of that. A lot of women don't know how to do that because they're not men. You know what I'm saying? And if they did do it, they would pay somebody way more than what I would because they're not industrious. They're not that industrious. So a woman could be just really game goofy in a lot of different areas in life because she just don't know how to do certain things. And a lot of these women, because they don't know how to listen to men, they block their true fulfillment in life because they don't know how to listen to men or certain men. The men that they listen to a lot of times is the men that's willing to go upside their face, um and they believe those are the real men. Like in their mind, um a man that goes upside their head to prove their point is a real man. But a man that just basically talks to them and explains to them certain things, they really genuinely believe that those men are lames, right? That are not to be taken serious. But those same men, they start to realize when they get older, they see those same men with women, like I say, in Cabo, in France, and in Italy, in Greece, in Santorini, Greece, living a good life with their wife and their children. And they realize that they the suckers, they the stupid ones. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of times the day late and the dollar short. And that's a lot of what Kevin Samuels pretty much was exposed on his platform.
Rather on the higher side, I think it's fair to say you can meet most women. Why would a man choose you over thousands of other women? That's the question.
That's a great question, and I still feel like I'm trying to figure out how to market myself. I do feel like I've been a firm believer in personal development. I think a lot of us don't come from backgrounds where we were provided with stuff, so I'm constantly seeking this knowledge. That's why I'm on here.
But what would you have? But you have to give me something. You know yourself better than I do, so don't tell me I don't.
I would say one thing that is my strength is I'm a very social person. So when I think of somebody who is in that income bracket, I feel like I would their business because of the social like relationships that I have. I would be that connector. I'm really known for being a good like networker. So I think I'd be add value.
Do you know any men that earn that kind of money?
Not personally, no.
Mm-hmm. Do you know any men who earn over $400,000 a year?
Not
No.
Yes, I do.
You do or don't?
I do.
Are they married?
No, they're single.
What do you think a man who makes that kind of income, what are some of the things they would want from a woman?
I definitely feel they want a baddie for sure.
A what?
A baddie, like they want somebody who is like a 10 and 10 for sure. Somebody who's well kept, well put, dressed as well, speaks well, articulate, great conversation, and be in a crowd with anybody and be able to be put together.
You just described a man.
I described a man?
Mm-hmm. You're describing the prototypical Tyler Perry Sex and the City metro female fantasy. The housewives were raised to be housewives. They're not socialites. They're not networking. They don't need you to network. They're already the end. Cooking isn't a love language. But I'm asking, would somebody would help you with the household chores, but they wouldn't cook?
Yes.
Yes, they would, or no, they wouldn't?
I like to cook. I personally like to cook.
Yes, they would, or no, they wouldn't?
No, they would not.
Would you have a nanny?
Yes.
So you want a housekeeper and a nanny. So effectively, you're going to incubate a baby.
Yes.
So basically, what a man at that level effectively gets your DNA. There's another woman in the house to help tend the house, another woman to help raise the children. He gets your DNA. What kind of professions would a man need to have legally?
He would have to be in finance, attorney, anesthesiologist.
Finance doing what? Finance doing what?
I would suppose he'd have to be like a financial advisor.
From whom?
For athletes, funds for the law.
Okay, what else?
What are the other type? They would have to be in finance, I would say, like, stocks, things of that sort, like Wall Street. Those are the ones that come to my mind right now.
Well, man, you want this high post, man. I'm showing you ladies like yourself, you want this luxury lifestyle. And you can't even give me 5 professions that you would look into. Okay, well, let's go on the other side. An average or an above average man. Average man makes 40,500. Would you date an average man? Seriously?
I have.
No.
Can I?
Would you marry an average man?
Yes.
That means you'd have to work and bring home substantial money. Because
Yes.
your lifestyle and his lifestyle are different. You need a breadwinner. You would do that.
That's why I feel toggled between the two. And that's why I work my business right now, because I tried dating guys that were, I guess you would say the average blue
But
collar.
the answer is no or yes.
Can you ask the question one more time? I'm sorry.
Would you decrease your lifestyle and your standard of living to marry an average man?
No, I would not decrease my lifestyle.
All right, so this is the problem. Women in your age, too old, your standards are too high, your standard of living is too high, and you've outpaced the market. You don't know what the men do. You know, yes, attorneys, but even you talk about specialized attorneys. You're talking about people in the service class, and they're servicing the elite. That's a very, very, very small group. It's smaller. And they don't just go looking for DNA. They tend to go looking for women who are housewives, who are going to provide them a quality of life. You are effectively a luxury room school, but you want a nanny. Your job description is going to be, I have sex with my husband and I produce his children. And after the second child is produced, then what? What is your job after the second child is produced?
Like again, these women are very game goofy out here. Like one of the things that Kevin Samuels exposed, and they're still game goofy, is that they don't even know the men that they're choosing, who these actually men are. They don't even know who the hell they want. You know what I'm saying? Like they was on Kevin Samuels show. They didn't understand how rare these men are. One, check. They didn't understand how short a short supply these men actually were, and they didn't even know where to even find these men, where they work, what they actually do, their educational level, so on and so forth. And the reason why is because they've been chasing the men that they've been chasing, which is average and below average men. And it's like the thing is that here's the deal. You got to understand a man. Okay, I'm not even let you know. Let's just for the sake just take out the race clause or the racial dynamic of it. Black men are very rare in that whole high value conversation, right? Let's just to improve the odds go outside of black men to give more numbers. Well, now you're in a situation where men in other ethnicities, right, non-black, their requirements tend to be higher. It's one, they don't want to be embarrassed. White men, they definitely avoid embarrassment. They have to deal with their family, they have to deal with their peer group, and they have to deal with their clients and customers, primarily clients. If they're, basically, most of the quote unquote high value men, they are in, basically corporate circles, private circles, and corporate circles. So they don't want to be embarrassed by their colleagues and also peer group, friends, family, and also clients, they work really, really hard to establish themselves to the point where they actually build some type of client base. They've built out some type of professional base to where they definitely ain't gonna just get with some woman, some random woman, and just basically deal with her, and definitely her children. They're not gonna do that. Now, older men might, but that is a might. And then you gotta understand, white men were the main ones that were the quote unquote passport bros before black men were. Okay, they were already going to other countries. They were ordering mail order brides from Ukraine, Russia, Poland, different parts of the Eastern Bloc in the 80s. They were already doing it. They were the first ones to actually do that. So they know how to activate their passport as well. They know how to go to the Philippines, go to Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, where have you, to get a man. I mean, basically, yeah, some of them do that, get the lady boys, but they, get a wife. They know how to get a wife as well. You know what I'm saying? They know how to go to a remote village and pay a dowry and get, a wife. They already know how to do that. So it's like basically to believe that men are all delusional. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of women were exposed to believe that a lot of men are just game goofy and delusional. And they are just easy to attain. And a lot of women woke up to find out that although they might believe that men are dumb and stupid, and it's like, yeah, they can get over on men and all of that, men will have sex with these women, but they're not going to maintain and keep them. They're not going to marry them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of this back and forth over the years exposed. It exposed how rare that world is, and also what women didn't absolutely know about that world as well. They were absolutely game goofy, understanding that world and how rare those men in that world actually were.
Someone is in the house taking care of it. Somebody's in the house because you don't want to pay more than 10%. Yeah, but I'm hello. Go ahead.
So when I tried dating guys that were like the last gentleman that I was dating, he was a truck driver. And what was coming up was he was expressing that just the way I dress and put myself together, he was intimidated by the way I put myself together. And although I was okay with meeting him where he was at, it became a problem. And so through that journey and kind of looking back at it, I felt like I had to level up my standards because I felt like I kept coming against a wall when I am trying to date somebody for just truly getting to know them.
Well, the problem isn't the truck driver. The problem is why, and when you were 22 years old, weren't you looking to be married?
I was looking to get married.
Okay. You've been engaged?
Yes, I have.
Who called up the engagement?
I did.
Why?
It was emotionally abusive.
So you've not dealt with any suitable men in your life that were marriage minded?
I did not know how to look for that at the time, no.
But the answer is you had. You just didn't know.
Yes.
So you weren't really looking because if you weren't available to receive it. So do you make room for the possibility of the fact that this is what tends to happen with women? You're hypergamous. You want a man to have at least what you have. What happens the longer you work in your profession? You make more money. The older one gets, the more you've experienced. You want a man that's way up here But your sexual marketplace value is down here relative to this. And if this man is up here, just like you would have to settle, he'd have to settle. Is it fair to ask him to settle?
No.
And he's not going to. And if you don't actually get somebody, and what happens? Do you earn over 6 figures?
No, I don't.
Have
Not
you
right
ever
now.
earned 6 figures?
Excuse me?
Have you ever earned over 6 figures?
Yes, I did.
For how long?
3 years?
In LA?
Yes.
Over 200,000?
Not over 200,000, no.
Over 150?
Less than 150.
With due respect, you were making about
125.
So that was like making $63,000 in Atlanta. So, ma'am, the way you kind of come across your image is like you're making $250,000 in Dallas and Houston. You're an above average earning woman. Okay? But you want a man who's making.
My dad is unfortunately,
What did he do for a living?
he was an RN.
Your mother and father were middle class?
Yes.
Why the hell are you looking for a rich man?
Because the guys, like I said, that I was meeting.
No, come here. You're middle class. Your degree is in what?
It was in sociology.
Sociology. One of those useless degrees.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from you is a woman who has this.
Yeah, I mean, if you got, because I was going to school for sociology, I switched it to basically computer science. If you're just using a sociology degree for undergrad, I mean, you're going to be making the equivalent of what someone works at the DMV at the counter probably would make. Sociology is one of those degrees that is like a foundational degree. You move from sociology to master's or PhD level, or you go to become a lawyer. Some of the best attorneys have a degree in sociology because sociology teaches you foundational blocks of what people are in society. It encompasses a lot of different nuances. You learn how to argue points. You learn how to support premises. You learn how to counter argue points and premises. You understand philosophy, psychology, and sociology. You go on to other professions. You don't just get a sociology degree and that's it. You go from sociology, like I say, to be an attorney, practice law, and a lot of attorneys that, like I say, have a sociology as their undergraduate degree are very, very highly successful because they understand a lot about people, whereas someone that was in something else, they might not have that understanding. Okay, you don't just get no undergrad degree in sociology and be like, yeah, I'm just done, I'll just put my feet up and then I'll just live my life. No, not at all.
I have this look, this air, and that's cool. But you're not an elite. You're middle class. You were from a middle class family. And you're out of your league. And I'm trying to be as political as I can, but oftentimes our women, they get these degrees and they start to think you're up here. And your mom wasn't RN, your dad was an X-ray tech. That means you get somewhere between RN and X-ray tech. You got a degree in sociology. You're not making what you made before. You're in finance now. I don't know what that means. Primerica? What is that?
Yeah, network marketing.
Primerica. I know. And how do I know these things, people? Because You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Y'all heard it.
Primerica is one of those things where it's like it's basically a pyramid type of thing or a scheme type of thing where the people up at the top, they make a lot of money, and the people when you first starting out, you don't really make that much. But if you can get at the top tier, you can make a lot of money. You know, you can get if you can get an office and all of that type of stuff, you can make a bunch of money. But if you at the bottom, you're not making that much.
I don't just talk.
I understand.
Your standard is extremely high. And I'm gonna say this in the nicest way I can, but you almost come across as like you're like imposter syndrome. So when you say you dated a truck driver and you dressed a certain way and you felt intimidated, but the truck driver was probably was he earning what you were making?
He would always complain about money, so he presented it like he wasn't.
What kind of truck driver?
At the port in
Okay. But see, the thing is, the men are talking about up there, they're also going to look at your pedigree. They're going to look at where you come from. They're going to look at your school. They're going to look at your parents. They're going to look at who you dated. They're going to like.
That is so true. I mean, like, that's another thing that Kevin Samuels really didn't talk too much about, I don't think, but it is a major factor that a lot of both men and women don't really understand, primarily mostly women, and obviously black women do not fucking understand. Most of the social classes stick amongst themselves. The upper class is very, very small, and they usually stick to each other. They do not go out. Most of the time, the men go out of the social class. They will go against the family, and they'll marry someone that is very modest as long as he treats them right and all of that. But the women hardly ever go outside of that. But for the most part, both men and women of higher social classes do not go out. They don't even be they not even marrying no lower class person. They're not doing that. Like the whole dream of marrying a rich man is like extremely wealthy, and that's a fucking fantasy. That's a Disney fairy tale. I mean, most of the most of the wealthy stick to each other. They're family oriented, meaning, to be honest, the reason why this stat holds true right here. Unfortunately, I have to be the bearer of bad news and tell you that the reason that that's true is not because of some dude that got a NBA salary. It's not because of some dude that got a contract to play for, the Chicago Bears. It is the wealthy. The wealthy pretty much are families, and they basically join other families that are wealthy, and that typically is how that works. It is not like they go outside of that. Like, maybe outliers might be definitely like less than probably 10%. The men will probably do it because men are horny, men are motivated outside of money. As long as a woman treats you good, a man will probably they probably would go against the whole family and just kind of step out. A prime example of that on the highest level is Prince Harry dating Meghan Markle and ultimately marrying Meghan Markle. You could see how disastrous that has been. Basically, that was an embarrassment at this point because it's not going too well with them. And it's like almost like a mockery. Like I don't even want to really talk about it because I don't even, what I'm saying? Like I don't want none of that smoke. But the thing is this that typically doesn't happen. Okay. And even in that family, when it does happen like that, it is not historically, if you know anything about that family, the Windsors and British monarchy, the history of that family. And basically I forgot who it was, where he basically married a commoner, and it was an embarrassment to the crown, and that situation didn't work out. So this is like 2.0, right? That's recently a situation where it's a different type of scenario, but it also didn't work out when a fucking prince married or basically a commoner. You know what I'm saying? And my point is, most wealthy families do not date outside of their class. I don't know what makes people think that they actually do. I think people believe stories and fantasies and movies over actual statistics and reality. That's what I think, and especially women, because women delve in delusion and they believe that fantasy story of some knight on a shining armor is going to save them and rescue them. And that typically does not work out like that. People pretty much share the same social class when it also comes to marriage. Now, women can upgrade as far as they can get with a rich man, yes, possibly even rarely a wealthy man, because rich and wealthy is two different things. A lot of people don't understand that concept. But yeah, the wealthy do not go outside of their family class typically. And I can't help but reiterate that and make that point very, very clear, that they do not do that. They do not do that like people think that they do. And yeah, they don't do that shit like that.
Like, no, because they're gonna bring around their partners, and unfortunately, all that in 36, and then you really don't want to work. You want to be taken care of. You're too old for that. You worked all this time. Do you have student loan debt?
No, I don't.
Well, you worked all this time. Why do you get to retire now? Because you have 2 kids? Absolutely not. That doesn't even sound like close to a fair deal.
So what would you say, like, for me, who would be like the that I should be looking for?
Well,
that match.
Well, socioeconomically, you'd be good to have somebody who's like an accountant, somebody who's like in tech, software engineer, systems engineer. Somebody's making 80, anywhere from 60 to 85. But my concern is, and maybe this is because you're a little nervous or whatever, and everybody responds differently. But you don't come across, like you said, the way you dealt with that truck driver. If I asked the truck driver, dating you was blank. How do you think he can say he experienced it?
I couldn't answer that.
Do you like to find things about it?
She couldn't answer that because the truth, she couldn't say that she was basically the one that was putting this truck driver through hell trying to date her. That's why she couldn't answer that shit. Now, here's the thing, right? This is what a lot of women don't understand. You know, I don't care about, right now, this is playback, basically, information or content or whatever. This is what a lot of women don't understand, that men overstand. Some men don't. Those men are simps. Now, what a lot of women don't understand is how you treat the poor guy or treat the guy on the bottom or in the middle or wherever, primarily in the middle or in the bottom. It's not like a good solid man. He sees how you treat that lower class man. If he's really paying attention, at least I do at my age and my understanding and wisdom, I see how you treat that guy that's, blue collar, the garbage man. I see how you treat the garbage man. And how you treat that garbage man is how you gonna treat the rich man and the wealthy man. And a lot of women don't understand. They talk, that's these are, this is a old terminology or whatever, and it's from this space or YouTube. They call these women chameleons, and these or conditional femininity, right? Or conditional submission. They'll say, "I'll submit." That was the whole thing with Ebony K. Williams. But they'll say, "I'll submit if X is present." Well, okay, that's not truly genuine, because how you treat the garbage man is how you treat the rich man or wealthy man. If you can't treat the garbage man with respect and be cordial and be fair with him, well, I don't have any chance as a rich man or wealthy man. And a lot of men don't get that at the top. They might divert, or they drop the ball on that, and they take these women serious, and then you find out the hard way that it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter even your social class. How you treat the garbage man is the same way you treat the man that is owning the garbage company. And that's and a lot of women act like men can't see that shit. We see the reason why you hiding the men that you've been with or don't want to talk about them is because those men are lower class, and you're trying to put all of these fences up with me, and I want if anything, I should get the pussy easier. You should give me the pussy on the first date, within the first hour, because you gave this nigga everything, and you gave him some babies, and he ain't even got a job. I seen the dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you showed me this dude. I asked you who's your boyfriend, who's your baby daddy, and then you showed me, or then, I'm be honest with you. If you take sex out of the equation with a lot of these women, and you actually ask those tough questions, they'll probably block you, or they'll text you, say you're blocked, or they'll hang up the phone. Because, see, they were looking for manipulation, and they knew at that point you are not the one to be manipulated. So it's basically they found that you are not the possible mark, right? They found that out, and then that's why they hang up the phone. That's why they put you on a block list. That's why they ghost you, because you're not the one. You're not easily manipulated. And that's why that is. Like, you thought, oh, they used to say, oh, I'm leaving money on the table and all of this bullshit. No, they were just a lot of women are looking for control and manipulation. I can tell this woman is definitely looking for control and manipulation. I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is another thing. And men with understanding or quote unquote game or whatever, we already know how the story goes. Even a woman that looks like she looks, I don't give a fuck about no children as far as or children or not. This woman she still looks pretty decent. Any woman that don't have a man, is something off about you, because especially even now, men, it's a lot of men that are desperate. It's a lot of men that are looking for women. If you can't absolutely get a man now in this history and time, it is something definitely fucking off about you. And you got to understand, it is absolutely men that understand that.
Got money, Amber. It's the one honest.
And not too many of them honest nowadays.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's some good men out there. But what it is now, it's the women. It ain't the men no more. The women's going bad. The women's going bad. It ain't the men's now. It's the women done gone bad.
You gonna flip the script on us?
Yeah, it's the women done gone bad.
You a woman yourself.
I'm a woman myself, but I don't do half the things I see these women do now.
They don't care no more.
That's when the men don't respect them. That's why. Let me tell you something, Amber. You got to give a man respect to get respect. You know what I'm saying? You got to give your husband respect to get respect. Because as long as you respect him, ain't too much he gonna do wrong.
We already know, yeah, it's already signed, sealed, delivered. If you this is the whole thing, right? That's why pimps exist. Pimps already know how to bridge the gap between men and women. They know how to market women towards men. A lot of women that don't know how to market themselves towards men already know this is a woman looking for manipulation, most likely, or control, or she's disillusioned by men, whatever the case may be. It's already something off about her, because I mean, I know it's more women and men and all of that, and it's complicated, but you got to understand, if you got all of these fences up and you got your guard up and all of that type of shit, you know, we know how that story goes. You know, you are the future Melissa Ford. You are the future Kendra G. You're the future, basically Vivica Fox. We already know how that story goes. You know what I'm saying? You turn into the widowed flower. You know, that's how nature works. The best thing you could do is, basically enjoy it while you can.
Myself for opportunities and experiences.
Okay, but where did you get this? Okay, can you afford these things?
I find a way to.
That means no. You find a way to pay for them. That means you cannot afford them.
Okay.
Afford means you can afford to pay for them 3 times over in cash after all your obligations are met. Can you afford these things?
No.
Then it's almost like you're kind of living a pretentious lifestyle. So you're putting yourself in environments and places around. That's why I said the imposter thing. So, and I don't want to get too much into that because I don't know you and I don't want to imply, but I'm telling you what I feel, what I'm getting from you. The men that are on your level, did you feel like you were settling for the trucker?
No, my heart was in.
You said and then how long ago was that guy?
How long ago? That was 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
I'm sorry, 8 months.
But you said your longest relationship was 6 years ago. How long did that last?
That was for a year.
What's the longest relationship you've ever had?
A year and a half.
Okay. Sounds like you had.
So yeah, when she can't manipulate and control a man, this is a manipulator and a controller. If she can't manipulate and control that man, she breaks it off with him. It's a typical woman. Now you gotta understand. I said 405, right? Because she's in California. She's a California 405, right? Now, she knows, I can tell this woman knows how to put on makeup. She knows how to accessorize. She knows how to put on a dress and get attention. She is used to getting attention from men. She is used to getting men. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm pretty much, man, I'm open for consultation. I know how to get women, you know what I'm saying, to bridge the gap. I ain't saying I gotta be a pimp or anything, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If this woman got in a U-Haul tonight and moved to Indiana, and it'll take her from California to get to Indiana, it'll take her about 2 days, maybe 2.5 days if she stops at a hotel, different hotels, right? She go to the church, go to a local church in Indiana, in Northwest Indiana. She'll be married within a year. On my right hand of God, like on my right hand of God, I promise to God, like she will be married within a year with the same attitude and everything. Like she maybe changed some things or whatever. The reason being is it's certain date markets, or let's just say S&V markets, that is more competitive than others. Like, for example, California, I already know LA is very, very competitive. But one of the things that I know about Northwest Indiana from me staying here for the years I've been here, it's worse actually than in the Chicagoland area, which, Northwest Indiana is actually part of the Chicagoland area, but that's a whole nother story for another day. But the thing is that Northwest Indiana ain't really hit no much like that. So if this chick moved to Northwest Indiana, she would fucking come up within a year, because it's a lot of men that it's basically kind of like a woman shortage, basically a black woman shortage in Northwest Indiana. So a lot of women move from Chicago to Northwest Indiana, and they come up right away because these men, they don't got no, they gang goofy too. They don't know, they don't listen to, they don't know. I don't be advertising my YouTube channel like that. Like, I mean, people know about my channel, but I ain't no big name or nothing like that. So people don't be knowing. I'm probably I'm probably one of the few men on YouTube that actually talks about your location has everything to do why, basically you ain't hit no much. I'm like, ain't that many men be talking about that. They just be talking about general shit. But how about it could be where the fuck you're located? I knew that. I learned that when I was 18 years old, when I went from Chicago, or basically Dalton to be exact, and I moved away to go to school down in Champaign. I realized at that point it's about where you located. You could be literally a fucking dry dick lane and literally go somewhere else and you're like the Princess Zamunda. I swear to God. Like, I lived it. I ain't talking about some shit in generality. I'm talking about my life. So it's like basically it's the same thing as above, so below. It's the same thing for women. They could be in a fucking place where it just ain't hitting on shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's certain day markets or SMV markets that are favorable to women, and it's certain SMV markets that are favorable to men. That's how that is. Why that is, I've talked about that, many a times on different videos and live streams. It just, it's a lot of stuff involved with that, but that it is, and it is what it is. You gotta fucking trust me on that. I am not wrong. I literally lived it. And that's what your dating coach don't fucking tell you. You got to get the fuck out of where the fuck you are and go somewhere else a lot of times, or travel. It might be okay to live what you live, but you're going to have to travel. You damn near got to fucking, to be honest, you damn near got to, I don't like to say these words, but you damn near got to almost damn near sex traffic, damn near. You got to damn near bring a broad from somewhere else to where you are, because if you ain't hitting no much, you either got to travel or you got to bring the broad to you, like fly the broad to you or whatever the hell that you got to do. Get a pen pal somewhere else and tell her, hey, why don't you move up here? And that's not sex traffic. I'm just being extreme to kind of talk about my whole point. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing where a lot of men don't understand that shit. A lot of the women, I think, probably do understand it more than men. I think that's where women kind of have an edge on men because they realize that. But men be like extra super game goofy on that regard. Niggas actually so dumb. It's kind of like, one of the reasons why especially black men are dumb, really dumb and retarded in this regard. They'll be in an area where it's really like kind of like a drought when it comes to like the women that they want, or let's just say black women. They'll literally have fucking duels. They'll have drive-bys and gang warfare or whatever, because over some broad, right, or hood rat or whatever. And it's like you in a place where it's just not that many fucking women. It's not that many black women where you are. It can just literally just drive your ass somewhere else, and then you got a plethora of women to choose from, and you totally different. Like you're in an oasis. And it's like, yeah, dudes don't understand that till they might live their whole life and never get that situation because they go get locked up or they go in the graveyard. It's literally that point. Like literally, I swear to God to you, I've been with a lot of women. I'm shit. I made women. Like I've produced women. I got children. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hands down. I'm gonna tell you, I ain't never had to have a shootout with no motherfucking dude over no broad. Check. Never even had to have a fight with a dude over no broad. Check. Never. They ain't never been a part of my jacket. And ain't never gonna be. Because the thing is that women are abundant and always have been. And I, like I said, I was thankful that I was brave enough to go away from my parents at an early age and venture out and see life for what it is. And I was able to make that connection by my late teens. So by the time when I got older, I understood, okay, this place ain't hitting on shit. Let me move around. And a lot of guys don't get that. They don't have that understanding. You know what I'm saying? And they literally suffer for that. They really literally suffer from that regard. And then, a lot of dudes be, I'm gonna get up out of there. Let's finish playing this shit.
Had some counseling or some therapy.
Yeah, I've had to.
So, are you openly affectionate?
Yes, I am.
Do you express your affection in words?
Yes.
So of all your, but
You see her, you see her, you see her mannerisms and her matter of factly statements and whatnot. Like, does that mean to you that she's affectionate? Do you get affection by her verbal interactions? At this point, she's like 21 minutes into this conversation. She, if this dude wasn't actually Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, she would probably hung the phone up on this dude. She'd been like, click, I gotta go, um, because she's definitely deterred. Like, she's kind of annoyed by this conversation at this moment. And you gotta understand, this woman at one time, she was a lot of women were like her. This woman was probably the it girl in high school, most likely. This was the it girl in high school, prom queen or prom co-captain or prom, it girl and prom in homecoming, high school, And by the time she got into college, she was going through it. You know what I'm saying? Going through it, right? Her ego is high strung. She knew she was the shit for a long time, right? By the time, whatever, I didn't get her age. I don't know if she said what age she is, but she gotta understand, she done been through men. She probably had a celebrity. She in LA, so she probably had some couple run-ins with some celebs, some entertainers, actors, or whatever. So her head is absolutely um blown up beyond proportion. She is not gonna tolerate. You could tell by the look on her face, she don't tolerate shit from no man. She just tolerating Kevin Samuels because he has a big platform. The bigger your platform, the more people gonna try to hop on and try to, engage. That's just how this shit works. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is this woman she is, a lot of women are like this. Like, you could tell by her verbal interaction, she's just not really um patient with men. She ain't putting in no work. None. She damn near probably 40 years old or by now for sure, if not already. This video is 3 years ago. She ain't had a relationship longer than 2 years. I had a relationship with an intolerable woman, a marriage for almost 4 years. Her long and that's like the worst woman you could possibly get involved with. Her longest relationship was a year and a fucking half. A year and 2 seasons. That was her longest relationship. And it's like, yeah, like, she's lived her whole life and her longest relationship was a year and a half. She basically dumps men. She has no zero to hardly any patience with men. You could tell by the look on her face, verbal interactions, so on and so forth. And I'm gonna tell you this, Kevin Samuels was like, these women need to smile more and shit like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I smile almost every fucking day. And I'm gonna be honest with you, shit ain't really hitting on much. Like, I mean, like, a lot of stuff is like really challenging for me right now. It has been for I would say a year or actually longer than that. But you know why I smile? Because I'm fucking healthy and I'm very optimistic. And the thing is, when women don't smile, I'm gonna be honest with you, it gives off of kind of a presentation that you're not healthy. You're not happy with life. Your philosophy, your way of living is basically unhappiness. It breeds unhappiness. And nobody want to be unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they say they want a man to make them happy, but if you can't make yourself happy, I don't have a fucking chance. I'm not your god. you know what I'm saying, to make you happy. You know, you have to make yourself happy, you know, and this is what this is. It's a lot of women are like this. You know what I'm saying? Like they're unhappy, you know, because basically, honestly, she has some psychological issues where, you know, and I don't really want to go into it, but you know, that's why pimps try to bust a woman's ego, you know, because her ego is so high strung that it robs her of the ability to really take a man serious and be consistent and submissive to that man. You know, and a lot of times women that are not like this at a young age, it's almost pointless once they get older, you know. Now Alan Roger Curry, he was an expert, more of an expert in that topic, but I ain't trying to motherfucking beat a bitch into submission. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't got time for all that shit. And I don't have to do that, you know. And the thing is that, you know, this is the ego and the um just, you know, inability to deal with men, because you want to be controlling and manipulative, and you get older and older, and it gets harder to find your mark. You know, it's always one guy, but he leaves, and then you got to find another mark.
Okay. Of your relationships, how many of them a man has left you?
One.
How were you in that relationship happened?
I was not any of the that right now at all. I was not anything that I told you right now. I was in my trauma at that.
And you got to understand, Kevin Samuels said, get a therapist. He really was the therapist whole time. He was asking questions that is better than a therapist probably would ask.
Message.
At times, so I was not showing my best.
But how old? I said how old? How old?
Oh, I was. I was 28.
Okay. And how many relationships have you had?
I've had 4.
So 3 out of the 4 you left.
Yes.
Okay. Well, ma'am, I would say that, you know.
And then you got to understand the high level acting. This woman was basically, she's not counting all of the men that she had casual sex with. She's not counting casual sex partners. She's only counting serious relationships. Her actual body count of actual men, it might be like fucking 40 or 400. You don't even know. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea. You know, this woman might have done some porn. You don't know what the fuck she's done. And the thing is that she's only counting the men that she considered having long-term relationships with. She been fucking for decades. You know what I'm saying? Different men having, basically most likely casual encounters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's tripped out, man. Well, I enjoy women, but women be tripped out, man. They get over on a lot of men, but not me.
If you've already done the work, the therapy, but there's still something amiss. And I know what I'm feeling right now, and I don't want to get into it right now, but there's something that's still skewed. And what I'm getting is a little bit like you have this picture in your mind of what a relationship should be. And it'll never be that. It's like, can you become self-aware enough to recognize this is what I am, I'm not up here. If I adjust it from income, I'm an average earner. I mean, you're Primerica right now. And I got no shade towards Primerica, but it's not like everybody becomes a vice president. People who go to Primerica are generally looking for a way out of corporate America. How long you been doing it?
2 years.
And
Well,
what level are you?
In network marketing, 2 years. With this company, it's
And what level are you at?
regional vice president.
Are you doing financial products?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Well, I don't get wife. I'm gonna tell you.
I remember this. This live stream. I actually remember this. You know, I remember this exactly. I didn't probably watch it in its entirety, but I remember at this point that I actually watched this because I remember just being like, "Damn, this is tripped out." You know, one of the Primerica chicks. You know, probably drives a Benz, has making some money, you know, and definitely high strung, highly boss. This is a boss babe. This is a boss chick, right? A lot of times, what the thing where women like this, to be honest, and it's, you know, it might be hard for them because they make, and especially in LA, they, you know, that money, the money that she says she makes in LA is not that competitive, you know, and you know, it's like that really ain't really hitting on much in that area. So she really kind of, a lot of boss chicks actually have to get with kind of I'll say they have to get with men. Let's see here. Let me kind of show. They kind of have to get with men that are, I want to say, thetas or omegas or betas. Alpha definitely no. Sigma even no. Because a Sigma gon' he can play the role of a lower man, but then he gonna snake out of it. He gonna get out of the situation. He gonna flip it on her and squeeze her. You know what I'm saying? And then she gonna start yelling and fussing and fighting and then crying. That's typically how that goes. So she can't get with an alpha because the alpha don't even play that game. And she would have to get a beta or omega or a theta man. Like and a lot of times, okay, if you get with even a beta, because a lot of time people talk, you know, people talk I mean, I know I joke around with the whole beta concept, but one of the things that people don't understand, and this definitely is a male hierarchical conversation. Um, basically, one of the things that women don't understand about betas, or people don't understand about betas, betas are not the lowest tiers of men. That's why they're next to the alpha. It's like Batman and Robin. Robin is a beta. Batman is a alpha. Just because um Robin is not Batman, you know, basically doesn't mean that he didn't help Batman out. He didn't come to Batman's aid. He didn't actually help, you know, solve problems and deal with other, you know, problems as far as being a superhero. Doesn't mean that even Robin was not even a superhero. Robin also was a fucking superhero. And I never forgot, because I don't really know about comic book lore, but one of my managers educated me on that comic book lore and said Batman, Robin went to be on his own and actually became very similar to Batman. He became Darkwing, the character, comic book character Darkwing. So, like, you got to understand, even a beta would not want to really, a beta would have to probably drink itself to an early grave to deal with a woman like this. He said, "What's going on, Alonzo? She's with Primerica, so shows how delusional she is. People think they're financial professionals with Primerica is like a dude saying he's a law officer when he's a parking lot security. Oh, man, that's crazy. Yeah, I never really fell for the Primerica thing. I don't know. Like, it just seemed kind of, I don't know. I just couldn't really explain it. And I'm not really a good salesman. I'm not gonna lie to you. So being a salesman never really was my really thing. Like being a full-time salesman is very difficult. And I'm not talking about just selling insurance, just the idea of just sales, 100% sales, being a closer and shit like that. It's like I definitely have sold a lot of things, but um actually selling is very, very difficult. But if you can master it, and Kevin Samuels, and keep in mind, Kevin Samuels was also a salesman. He was a master salesman. A lot of people don't understand Kevin Samuels was a master salesman. That's why he was actually good at talking to women, talking to people because he was a master salesman. Now, the thing is this. Um, yeah, I mean, I just never really understood the whole Primerica thing. But the thing is yeah, a lot of when it comes to Omega men and Theta men, um, a lot of women are not like they want a man, but a lot of times some women do get this and they understand this, but but a lot of women they don't understand that if they want a man and they want to be a boss chick, they have to get a lower man and pay for them. They have to pay for their lifestyle. They have to pay for that man. And a lot of women do not want to pay for a man because they still think that they got it. They still think that this pussy good, this mouth is crazy, or whatever the case may be. They do not want to pay men. So they'll just try to get another man to manipulate or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how this shit works. Like, if you gonna be a boss alpha, babe or alpha chick, whatever, you gonna have to pay a certain type of man that you might not even be desirable to even be with. And it's like, yeah, like that's just you can't have your cake and eat it too, boo. If you're a quote unquote boss chick, I ain't gonna mention no names, but I know some boss chicks. I just reposted one just today on my TikTok. She did exactly what I just said. She's got a husband. She's a millionaire. She's a fat chick, and she definitely her man does not make what she makes. So by proxy and default, she's basically sponsoring her husband, which at that one particular time was obviously her fiance. She basically is the sole provider in that relationship. And a lot of women struggle with that. A lot of women actually do go out and do okay, do above average, and they struggle with the idea that, you know, um they want a man on a higher level, but Kevin Samuels is very patient with her. He knows this is golden content. Don't get me wrong, it is evergreen content. um and the thing is that this woman is a lot of women, and the regard is that in a sense that she thinks that she can get a high value man and be a boss chick. She still thinks in a low level boss chick, not a millionaire, definitely not a billionaire, not a deca millionaire, not 100 millionaire, definitely not a billionaire. Um, just 100,000 which I mean to be honest, like I gotta play this, I gotta put this slide again. $100,000 is poor. I mean, I hate to bust your bubble, but this is more in correlation with the true class structure in America. The middle class, $100,000, this old shit right here, this shit outdated. This actually is, I would even say, is propaganda. It's not true. This is absolutely not true. This is more close to reality right here. And that amount of money is, you still poor. In this chart here, it's absolutely where that is. And people think is, yeah, I make 100,000. Yeah, you're doing it. That's not bad. Okay. That's not bad. You can use that. And I mean, the thing is this is where it is bad. When you're looking at that like you've arrived because you felt you caught the brainwashing and everything, like, yeah, if you take that regard, yeah, yeah, it's bad for you. But if you're in touch with reality and you take that $100,000 and you go buy some investment property and you fix it up and flip it, and buy some cars and you fix them up and flip them, and go buy you a food truck or some shit like that, you're on the right path. But if you're like on some I arrive type shit and you make only $100,000, you off by a long shot. And the thing is that you gotta understand, you trying to find a man that makes more than you, in this middle class and upper middle and comfortable and wealthy, they ain't checking for no chick that is a fucking single mom. Unfortunately, sorry to bust your bubble, they're not doing that. And then they're not trying to deal with some boss chick with a boss chick mentality. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. Kevin Samuels knew these men because they consulted with them, a lot of them, or he worked in his industry and he dealt with these men. I'm gonna tell you something about me that you don't know, or you probably don't know because you haven't followed me for years or subscribed to me for years and saw my content. I used to be a cable guy. And I used to be a cable guy in one of the wealthiest parts of Chicago, the Chicagoland area. And I used to troubleshoot and also install cable in wealthy areas in Chicago. I'm talking about $1 million mansions. I met these men. Okay, one guy in particular, a Jewish guy, actually he said he was living in Inglewood in the 1950s and 40s or something, in Chicago. He moved all the way, where he was living up north in the North Shore area of Chicago. This man had a multi-million dollar mansion. This was like 2013 at the time. He was 70 years old at the time, or 80. I don't remember, okay, because it was a long time ago. But his wife was about in her 40s, hot blonde, white wife in the kitchen in his mansion, okay, basically making a sandwich or some shit. And the thing is that I've been around these people as well. I've seen how they live. I've seen who their wives are. Primarily, these men are white, and they're not stupid. They're very cunning. They're sharks. They got the money the way that they got it. Um, might you don't even want to know probably how they got it. And the thing is that they not checking for no chick that is a boss chick, single mom. They're just not doing that. That is not reality. And it probably never will be a reality. And the thing is that what a lot of women don't understand is the way that they actually their behavior is, it's almost impossible for them to actually get those men unless they get one is like a trust fund baby that's retarded, that has a drinking problem or a drug habit or something. It's almost impossible for them to get those types of men. And it's just, the reality is, um them thinking that they can actually get those men is absolutely a pipe dream. And that's what Kevin Samuels was actually trying to educate them on, the fact that you are, basically have a pipe dream. And it's like you better off just getting a regular dude and just you know y'all can grow together. But it's impossible for women to grow when when she first started talking, which was like over an hour ago, because I'm reacting to this video. I'm reacting to this video like like crazy. Um and the thing is that I initially thought that she was, tolerable. But to be honest, now I'm an hour in and the brains and the synapses are firing off. I believe she was possibly even intolerable. She's putting on an act, very good act. I think that she might even intolerable. Because here's the thing with subprime women that I haven't really talked a lot about this, but the thing about subprime women is the tolerable ones, um the tolerable ones can actually stay in a relationship for quite a long time. They can kind of like, this is your auntie that's still married to your uncle and they've been married for 20 or 30 years, 40 years. Um, this is the might even be your grandma. This might, be your mama. She's tolerable. She's not, she's not perfect, but she's tolerable, right? Well, the intolerable woman is totally different. They're like the worst types of women to actually start a relationship with or be in a relationship with. Very argumentative, has the same, history of tree branching relationships. They don't care about boundaries when they're arguing, want to do whatever they want to do, defies the concept of men leading her unless a man is willing to beat her into submission, like I said, and risk jail. And they're basically indefiant of actually men. They typically are, they're running away from submission. They'll live their whole life running away from submission.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
And it's like basically, a lot of these women, they have this reality.
It's crazy. They be like, they want a rich man. Rich men don't. Ain't no rich dude sitting around like, I wonder what Keisha with them 3 kids is up to. I feel like changing a life today. It don't happen.
And I mean, it is, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Like, and the thing is like, okay, it's always an exception. It's a lot of dudes that's on drugs. It's a lot of dudes that's crazy. It's a lot of dudes got they're sex addicts. You might be able to come up off a guy like that. That's what pimps do. Pimps know dudes like that. They got sex addictions. You know, they don't know how to they don't know how to date. They know rich incels. You know what I'm saying? That's what pimps do. They know they bridge that gap. But for the most part, a sound man with discipline, because you gotta understand, how did you get to this level? Right? How does men, get to a level where they become successful entrepreneurs or successful businessmen? They didn't get that way by basically being just a loser that has sex addictions, that just basically a simp, that just basically kowtows towards women because that's their mating ritual. That's their love language. These are the men outside of the beta paradigm that are, masters of that particular hierarchy. And these men do not, basically um just look after look for women that are on a low scale. They don't do that. They didn't get to where they are having low expectations. So they're not going to date and marry with low expectations. And I mean, unfortunately, life is competitive. Life is very, very competitive. A lot of people don't understand. They don't look at nature as if they don't look at life as life is competitive, but life is very competitive. You just don't really think about it or see it until you actually slow down and actually do the research. Or maybe you already know, but you want to be delusional and try to think that, or try to, um go outside of the reality that life is competitive.
Hey, right now, when we said power couple, the kind of man who's making the kind of money, they don't want to be partners and power couples. They want cooperative wives who aren't trying to live this yuppie thing. Possibly an executive wife, which is, that's the closest thing to a quote unquote power couple, but I don't know how you would be in a relationship. Have you interviewed your exes?
I would like to. I honest to God.
But
I'm not sure if they would be open to that. I think it's more.
Are they married?
One is.
Okay, just answer, hey, send an email. What was I like to be with? Because they can tell you. Because it's not really, there's a phenomenon that I've seen in the last several years. I call pretty professional problems. You're talking about pretty, you talk about 6, adjustable 6, 8, 9. So cute, pretty, beautiful, professional women who want relationships, but they can't maintain them. I went to Houston to talk about this issue, Chicago, and then in New York, and in LA. That's like your that's where y'all live. LA, Chicago, Houston, New York City. Emotionally unavailable. They look nice. They speak well. They make a good presentation. They'll network. I mean, you put you in a dress at the steakhouse, but then away from that, it's just something's amiss. And what I've noticed is many women like that are afraid to fail. So you sabotage stuff. You want it to always look good. So are you one of these kind? So, I'm not saying you, but like women who don't like to go out of the house unless every hair is right. It has to always be good. So it's not a matter of femininity training or wife training. It would really just start to, I would say, actually, I'm going to be tackling this year because so many of our Black women are in this category. Frankly, that's why I'm talking about self-awareness. So many of our Black women are in this category: beauty, brains, business, and bonds. With the inability to make bonds, you just have a bunch of women stranded. So,
The thing is, ain't nothing you really can do about a woman like this. That's the thing. It ain't nothing you could do, man. Women like this, they wouldn't even be friends with my sister. The woman like this would be like my sister's supervisor or manager. And the only choice they can pretty much deal with is a simp. These are the women that I mean, basically by proxy and default, they can only be with a simp because this woman basically is a frustrated boss chick, basically, alpha boss chick, right? That is in between marks. I mean, I just gotta call it for what it is, man. You think I don't fucking know, man? I'm from Chicago, man. The nerds play basketball in Chicago. Okay. Um, I mean, you gotta have game in Chicago to survive. Like you will be outside in the cold if you don't have no fucking game in Chicago. You gotta have game to survive in Chicago. And you probably better know how to fuck too. I'm gonna just keep it real. You gotta be able to fuck to survive. You gotta be a fucking caveman to survive. It's still cold. It's April 17th. It's cold as fuck. I just had to turn my furnace on and get some more popcorn. I mean, I moved on. I moved on. I don't gotta fuck for survival no more. I mean, I got my I learned I learned how to fucking work on build fix up bandos. So I developed a skill for myself where I would never have to be a homosexual again in life. But yeah, man, I swear to God, man, it's rough, man. It's rough in Chicago, man.
Huh?
It's rough, boy. You know what I'm saying? These women, man, you gotta motherfucking lay it on them so you can have a place to stay, man. So you can get out the cold weather, bruh. I mean, it be like that sometimes.
This one.
What?
And you gotta understand this broad right here. You know how many niggas she done kicked out of her house or her apartment? You know how many stories she got of some nigga done, she got tired of him and she kicked him out. Man, it get it's men that they didn't take that kicking out part to that's one of the reasons if you notice about in the Midwest, I'm gonna tell you something about the Midwest, right? Because it be so cold. If you ain't noticed, if you notice like the murder, just S words, it be in the Midwest. If you noticed, a lot of them. And you can wonder why that is, right? These chicks, man, say get out in the cold weather. That's almost a death sentence for a man to be outside, man or woman, to be outside in the cold. I still to this day, I know the Indians, they lived in the Midwest, but I mean, I like to think that maybe they traveled from the Midwest to maybe down south in the winter, because it's like, why would you live? I mean, I guess they had their way to survive. They had, campfires and teepees and stuff like that. But this weather, man, is very, very vicious. Even the cats outside, the reason why cats don't live for only like a year or two out, as far as outdoor cats, because they can't survive that cold weather. That cold weather is brutal on cats and other animals. I mean, and like the coyotes come in and they eat them because they ain't got no food. I mean, they trying to, survive. Dogs is trying to, you got stray dogs and all that shit. But man, this weather, man, alone, this weather is brutal. And a lot of men have to survive, and they have to deal with women like her, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. And it's a lot of women like her. It's women worse than her. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I gotta keep it real.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Ain't
You're not.
Ain't no change in a woman like this. This woman gonna be like this. She gonna get older, and she gonna get meaner and meaner and meaner. And it's not going to change. Like this woman, with the whole bonding thing, like a lot of times it's sexually related. When a woman jumps from men to men to men, she loses the ability in a lot of regards to even care about men. It's almost like she becomes a prostitute. Prostitute goes from men to men to men to men to men to men to men. Sometimes, like in one night, she might have had 10 men in one night. At some point in time, she loses her ability to have regular, normal sexual relationships with men because she has no bond with men. She absolutely has no normal bonding experiences with men. A lot of people don't fucking want to talk about this shit. They don't want to, you know what I'm saying? They don't even have the ability to talk about it, to be honest. But the thing is that like men are so game goofy. They have a Madonna whore complex as well. They think that just a fucking prostitute on the street or escort has this same problem. A woman, a normal, everyday Sex in the City modern woman has this same problem too. Women are not men, and men are not women. They can't just hop from this person, this person, this person. Like that's not how that's supposed to go. It didn't say in the Bible Salamina. It says Solomon. It didn't say Salamina. It said Sheba. It didn't say Sheba was Solomon. These women trying to be Solomon, and then they fucking got them and going out the world backwards. And then to be honest, they putting on a strap on and sodomizing women. That's a whole nother story for another day. I already actually had that day. I already talked about, I already got a video on that. But I mean, yeah, it's no change. Ain't no putting the genie back in the bottle. Ain't nothing. She is who she is. At best, maybe some man's concubine. Maybe she could be a rich man's concubine. I don't know.
You're in therapy, though, right?
I am. I feel like it's just a lifestyle at this point.
Okay. Well, I'm a fan of that. I think it's a good idea to switch therapists. And also, do you do any charitable work?
No, I don't.
Okay. Giving of yourself is always good. I mean, American Heart Association, find a cause. And also it puts you in proximity with certain types of men. I'm not getting the fact that it's beyond repair, but
like, have you ever put on a halo? let me see your halo. What's that the Beyonce song? Let me see your halo. Oh my God. Oh my God, man. Let me see your halo. Oh my God. Let me see your halo. Oh man. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Help me, help me.
I just can't fix it. I can't address it right now. I would say that, are you active in your neighborhood?
I'm active. I host a lot of networking events, so that's how I'm active.
I mean, are you active not toward the end of gaining business? I mean, do you know who your city councilman is? Are you part of the chamber? Do you go to church, charitable organizations? Are you moving around, or is it always a goal to try to make to get a sit down?
The latter.
See, that network marketing thing, a lot of people don't like that stuff. You know, nobody. Hey, you want to come over and? Primerica was what woke me up out of the fog of corporate America. So I got nothing but good things to say about it. But long term, not for me, it wasn't anyway. Because once you burn your warm network, yeah. And at 36, you have you been to the OBGYN to find out your so you only got a short window. So it's time to start actually putting resources toward it, to start making a deal. You need to find out your deal breakers. I'm gonna be honest. That luxury lifestyle you're talking about, because at the end of the day, that's all a good deal. I mean, just the DNA, you're gonna do some work.
Question.
Just reconsider. I gotta go ahead and wrap this up. Go ahead.
I climbed in my company and now I'm hitting multiple six figures. How does that change? Because I know you said there's imposter syndrome, but there's also a piece that you want to exude what you want to create in your life as well.
So the question again is what?
Let's say I get into the multiple six figures with my company, because I'm saying that, or you're feeling imposter syndrome when it comes to me, then it's like, it kind of.
If you get into six figures of Primerica,
yes.
Then the question is, then what?
Then how does that change? Because I know you were saying like there's imposter syndrome. Are you feeling imposter syndrome with me when it comes to how I'm showing up or how I dress and things I like?
Well,
but
that's the difference. Then the money will catch up to where you're already. This whole manifest thing, fake it till you make it. But you know, and I know that the chances of that happening are remote. I mean, you know the numbers of who gets there, right? I mean, so what percentage, what's the probability of that happening in the next 5 years?
I don't have that answer.
What do you think?
I mean, I would think 5%, if that, maybe less, 3%.
So then so if you got a 5 to 3% chance of something happening in the next 5 years, why is it even a question?
Because I see the work that I put in, so I believe that.
And that's the imposter syndrome. That's the imposter part of it. You're still focused on the fantasy. This image facade you built for yourself, and I just made you quantify it. There's a 3 to 5% chance that this might happen in the next 5 years, which means there's a 97 to 95% chance that it won't. But you'd rather say all the work I put in, the work for what? You know who does this? Degenerate gamblers in Vegas. It's called sunken cost fallacy. You've sunk so much cost into this facade. I'm on a blackjack table, I run the roulette table. I made 500, I made 1,000, I made 15,000. I'm like, ooh. Oh, I lost 500, but I'm still up. I lost 1,000, but I'm still up. I won again. All right, we're back. All right. Then what? What happens the longer you gamble? What happens?
More money you.
Who wins the longer you gamble?
The companies.
No. The house. The lights in Las Vegas are on for a reason.
Yeah.
This is not a trick question. The longer you gamble, you will give back everything you won, plus empty your savings and everything else. But you know what keeps you going? The herd mentality and the sunken cost fallacy. What if I snap my fingers today? What if this happened? And whatever God you believe in, He sends you an archangel down and says, here, I am the God of your understanding. And He confirmed to you that He is God. He shows you your childhood memories beyond a shadow of a doubt. You know it's coming from God. Okay? Irrefutable. Are we there? And He says, not gonna happen. You're not gonna get there. This is it. You're gonna be a middle earner right here. You're gonna be comfortable. Never gonna happen. It's not what I have for your destiny. Then the angel goes, it goes back up to heaven. You're gonna still live your life on the possibility it could happen?
No.
That's what keeps you going. The gamble. But what you do have to look at over the last 36 years, and where's it got you? Fear. We're on the same page?
We're 100% on the same page.
Because money doesn't make you happy. There was a story of a woman who was, in New York, Miss USA or something. You know what I'm talking about?
The one that just passed away?
Passed away? You mean walked up top of her building?
She committed suicide.
Yeah, it's not passed away. You say death. Yeah. Beautiful black woman right there. Lawyer. Successful. Now, right now, she had it all. Money, fame.
But see, a lot of, I'm gonna just say this and I'm gonna close this out. Like, a lot of people be involved with conspiracies and stuff like that, and you don't know what they're involved with. And it also can be depression. It's a possibility people do commit suicide because of depression and things of that nature. Like this young white dude told me about something that I didn't know. I was in Walgreens and we was conversating, and he told me, because I asked him, has he traveled? Has he gone to Europe or something like that? And he said nah. And he mentioned, I don't know why he mentioned about Tokyo. I guess he was thinking about going to Japan. He told me about the Paris syndrome. And what Paris syndrome is weird. Japanese believe that it's so much fun traveling to Europe and Paris, and when they actually go there, they come back extremely depressed because it's not all it's hyped up to be, and it's not this happy place that's advertised as it is. So, and they ended up basically, I'll just say, committing seppuku, because they basically are extremely depressed that what they thought was the most happiest place on earth was actually not what it was. So yeah, it's called the Paris syndrome. It's a true thing. It's weird as hell, but that is an actual thing, because I actually looked it up. I was like, damn, the hell. But again, another thing is, you gotta understand, one of the things that I do know about lawyers and cops, high level or low level cops, they can get involved in conspiracies. Basically, i.e., get involved with very, very highly powerful people. Let's just even say people in the significant. And then you're intertwined with all kinds of shit, all kinds of powerful people in high places in the underworld. And next thing you know, you going off the side of a fucking building. And nobody would even think that or even talk about it. But you got to understand, I watched a shit ton of fucking fucking movies and TV shows from the time I was a little ass boy to now, and a bunch of like cold case files, you know, unsolved mysteries, all kinds of shit. So I already think that, and then definitely American Greed. So I mean, you don't know what the hell is involved with some of these suicides. Are definitely conspiracies. Fucking, you would be surprised how many of them actually are, and you would not know it. But yeah, let me just finish playing this here.
Beauty.
Gonna close this one on out after this.
People is what life is about. Relationship.
Now, I will say this. If you want a woman that when you pass her the strap, she gonna fucking know what to do with it and not think twice, this is the woman you want. I mean, if you, let's just say, are involved with a conspiracy, this is the woman that you want to be fucking with. Because this woman ain't got no, she ain't scared of shit. He talking about what she talking about with this woman jumping off a building. All she ain't got no feelings or emotions about the shit. She like, and you know, I'm from fucking Los Angeles. I'm from South Central. Shit, the Crips and Bloods kill each other every day. Shit, and what's next? You know, like I'm gonna be. I mean, like yeah, like you know, it's certain women. You know, they cold and callous, you know, they get to that point, and you know, she's definitely, I could tell, definitely cold and callous. Not, she ain't probably scared of much of shit, you know. Probably done, who knows what her deepest and darkest secrets are. I know I'm going in too deep, but
you can work a room.
I can't.
But you can network for a sale? Can you build a life?
I can't help it.
Can you build your own network? That's the most important networking skill.
I'm listening. Yeah.
I'm asking is, do you not think so?
This is giving me a lot to think about. I'm
asking though. I mean,
I agree with you.
How many millionaires and billionaires? How many people do you see up in director, vice president, or executive management who are single?
Not a lot.
No, because the first thing you manage is your home. That's the first team. And so many of our women have this professional, polished thing, but it's like there's just no emotion. It's like the light's not on. Like there's no passion, or you're an affectionate person. So I have high emotional intelligence, but I'm reading just no affect, no feeling. When was the last time you actually shed a tear?
2 days ago.
Okay. Has anyone ever broken your heart?
Tremendously, yeah.
How old were you?
The one from 8 months ago.
How long were you guys together?
We were together for 8 months.
Stop defining your success by your bank account and these bullshit ass titles. That's why so many black women.
The trucker was putting in a long haul. He was putting that long haul in there.
I mean, are dying alone.
Pause.
That shit was pushed to our community. It's pushed to every community, but I want to bought into it more than anything else. Living single, girlfriends, and now you got a bunch of 45-year-old women telling you, go now, focus on yourself, don't worry about such and so forth. 45 to 70, 45 to 60. Like, they at least had some money from Hollywood. You're an accountant. So So I'm asking you to move like you don't have this potential to make this money because it's not really a potential. How would you move if you were a school teacher?
How would I move if I was a school teacher?
How would you move throughout the world if you were a school teacher? If you were a third grade teacher, how would you move in the world? How would you operate? Would you have this lust? Would you this lust for the finer things and don't deny yourself?
No, I feel like I would be content with.
Well, then become a third grade goddamn school teacher and get content. Because that's closer to your reality. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm ultimately saying.
That's what's up, man. There you have it, man. Kevin Samuels is still right, man. Evergreen content. Evergreen.
Got money, Amber. It's the one honest.
And not too many of them honest nowadays.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's some good men out there. But what it is now, it's the women. It ain't the men no more. The women's going bad. The women's going bad. It ain't the men's now. It's the women done gone bad.
You gonna flip the script on us?
Yeah, it's the women done gone bad.
You a woman yourself.
I'm a woman myself, but I don't do half the things I see these women do now.
They don't care no more.
That's when the men don't respect them. That's why. Let me tell you something, Amber. You got to give a man respect to get respect. You know what I'm saying? You got to give your husband respect to get respect. Because as long as you respect him, ain't too much he gonna do wrong.